Welcome up, everybody, to the Get Bit Podcast, the podcast for blurs, for nerds. If you have a fandom, you are most certainly welcome here. I'm your host, the most Will, aka the Black Spartan. Of course, the man to my left, your right, depending on how your screen is flipped. What you got for us today, sir?
My name's Joe Tanell, and you're currently experiencing my Valentine's Day.
With that being said, we are the Get Bit Podcast, and much like the WWE of old, we do try to watch our language, but hey, words are going to fly at the same time. There may be things that might be shown that might be too intense for younger viewers, but viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. So, how do we start this wonderful Valentine's Day weekend? Well, I guess we could try with some good news, and by good news, I guess we could start with DC. Because James Gunn has made it a point to be at the forefront of everything. And I do mean everything, as he actually just came out this week and said that basically that that DC Studios will be separate from Warner Brothers. He clarified that DC Studios being separate from Warner Brothers means that the Warner Brothers executives will have no handling in anything DC Studios related. And I can honestly say, for a lot of our DC fans, me and Joe included, can breathe a sigh of relief. Reason being because whenever, and I do say whenever, Warner Brothers gets involved, how can I put this ever so nicely? Whenever Warner Brothers gets involved, it never ends well.
Becomes a Rube Goldberg version of Mousetrap.
Yes. And then that's just being honest. It's like Warner Brothers for the most part, for the live action DC movies, outside of maybe some few exceptions, have done rather well. I mean, let's be honest. As much as Black Adam was an okay movie, it didn't really do so well. And then even though Shazam: Fury of the Gods coming around the corner, will it do slightly better than Black Adam? Maybe. But outside of the first Shazam, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, not Wonder Woman 84, DC doesn't really have a lot of wins in the column outside of, if you count James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and of course, Peacemaker on HBO Max. So I get that James Gunn is wanting to make sure and trying to keep us in the loop because before we had such a hands-on person, we were really getting. I mean, we weren't getting the same type of feedback from previous times DC stuff got released. It was more like, hey, press junket, hey, DC fandom, hey, this may come out sometime soon. But that's pretty much it. But it's nice that he's actually saying, look, above all else, this is separate. Warner Brothers execs have nothing to do with this. Me and Peter Safran are spearheading this. And to me, that's a great thing. But what do you think about it, Joe?
Well, I mean, last week we did miss last week. We had a lot of stuff going on between you and I. So we missed the whole slate, which we'll go over here in a bit. Also, Warner Brothers executives are already very upset with James Gunn. But can't do anything about it now because of his way of talking about certain things. Like saying how Warner Brothers just handed out IPs and didn't care to who, how badly they effed with movies prior, the way they handled Henry Cavill, or Cavill, I still don't know how to pronounce that. So James Gunn, good guy. The other thing that still makes me very happy with James Gunn is that man has probably paid some poor kid a good amount of money to stay on his Twitter. And every time a rumor pops up, that man immediately pops in. And my new favorite one is they have someone, DC Leaks. I think that's who it was. I'm pulling the name out of my butt, but we'll go with DC Leaks. It's a Twitter leak thing. So, dime a dozen. Goes with, they have now started casting the new Superman. And James Gunn's like, no, we haven't. I'm still writing the script. To which DC Leaks goes, well, how do you know? And James Gunn, because I'm the fucking CEO of DC Studios. God bless that man.
That part was funny. I mean, who would sit there and say, how would you know? Because I'm the guy writing the script. you can't really do this without me. You know that, right?
It's like the previous Twitter guy that went down in flames where goes like, Henry Cavill's out because James Gunn doesn't like him. James Gunn's like, dude, we're like really good friends. Well, that's not what I heard.
Mhm.
You're an idiot. Move out of your mom's basement.
That was a whoo.
This is why I like
Ooh,
James Gunn. He's like he has no problem telling people off. My only problem with James
right.
Gunn currently is he is still kind of actively supporting the problematic one, he who should not be named.
Well, there's a reason, and I'm glad you brought up the slate because you're right. We didn't get to go over it, but to transition into that, it does make sense why he has to do it. And the next screen I'm going to show is going to say why. So this is basically, guys, the slate that that James Gunn did do live. Let's just say last week. Yeah, it was last week. So this is actually the slate. Yeah, it was last week. So this is the DC Universe slate that he comes out. Now you'll notice one thing. That at the top, of course, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, coming out March 17th. That Flash movie coming out June 16th. Of course, Blue Beetle coming out August 18th, and Aquaman coming out on Christmas of this year. You'll notice that in the middle of that section, there's a Universal Reset. Now, Universe Reset. Why is there a Universe Reset? Because James Gunn has came out and said that the Flash, because for all those that have been following the Flash, it is following the Flashpoint Paradox, which he's going to use the Flash movie to reset the DC universe, which again isn't a bad idea. I just hope Ezra Miller is not a part of it, but that remains to be seen.
There is a caveat that he did mention, though.
What's that?
He said that they have changed some things, so it is resetting some things in the DC universe, which is why Aquaman is still around. And there's a potential that Wonder Woman is still Gal Gadot. They just don't have anything for her at the moment in part 1.
Right. And I can live with that.
And that the reset, I guarantee you, we're going to get to see Booster Gold at the end of Blue Beetle or a teaser of Booster Gold. We'll see like Skeets or something.
Yeah. And that's actually going into the other part of Slate, which James Gunn has called Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. I love him for that, just because there's the reference to Gods and Monsters in the DC world. I give Gunn credit for that.
It was a really good DC animated movie.
That too. He talks about Creature Commandos. Again, I did not expect this. If you don't know what Creature Commandos are, how can I say this in the nicest way?
This is the Universal Monster Horror at Universal Horror Monsters as a World War II infantry, also featuring Weasel.
Monster Squad. That's the word I was looking for. Think of a Monster Squad, but it's up. They're interesting. I'm gonna leave it at that. They're interesting. Of course, the next one series you have Waller, which is basically gonna follow Amanda Waller, Miss EGOT winning actress, the Miss Viola Davis, not the Black Meryl Streep, Miss Viola Davis.
The Grand Slam.
Yeah, she is now an EGOT winner, so definitely congratulations to her.
So we do need to point one thing out on Amanda Waller. This is also technically Peacemaker season 2.
Exactly. Because it's gonna fill in the spot between Peacemaker, what they say. It's gonna fill in the spot between what happened after Peacemaker and what happens in the next season of Peacemaker. So, so it's gonna be interesting about Waller. Superman Legacy is basically going to be the flagship. Again, we do not know who is casted for Superman Legacy. We do know that Gunn wants to go younger, so we don't know exactly at this point. It has been, let's be honest, several names have been thrown out there, but again, he has confirmed none of it because he's still writing the script. Now,
so we do know that this may be a combination of Superman Birthright, All-Star Superman, and there's one more. I forget. Man of Tomorrow.
So I want to say Man of Tomorrow was the third because he's taking elements from all three, which I am not against. No. I loved all three of them. I'm not against.
He also stressed that the Superman movie is not an origin movie. We will not be getting Krypton again.
because we do not need another origin movie. Just saying, for established characters. Lanterns, which is going to be following, I'm trying to remember correctly. I know he's following two
That
Lanterns.
one guy I don't like, and Jon Stewart.
Kyle?
No, one guy I don't like.
Oh, Hal. You don't like Hal. I was like, oh, Hal.
No, I'm petty. I am petty when it comes to Hal.
He's like, you don't like Hal. I was like, okay, I had to think about the one Lantern you don't like. I said, oh, Hal. So yes.
Remember, Hal Jordan is my safety word.
Yeah, that. Anyway, so Lanterns is gonna
if
follow.
I need help and I go, Hal Jordan's my favorite Lantern, everybody needs to come running. I'm in danger of dying.
That's a panic. That's a panic swerve. But Lanterns is gonna follow Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. They didn't say, of course, Gunn did say that does leave the door open for other Lanterns, but specifically how it's going to start is going to be basically surrounding them. No problem with that. He also is going to be starting the Authority. Again, another great team. And I think the Authority is kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not as well known, but the stories that they go through, they're great, which is going to make me think if he does the Authority in that same sense, it's going to be a great outing for DC. Just because. But go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because I was going to go down the group of their powers. But go ahead. What are you going to say?
So my thing is, this version of the Authority is going to be some bizarre mixture, and this is my theory alone, because my mind takes me to, we established the Authority. We established they're like the Squadron Supreme or the Justice Lords or the Crime Syndicate, where they're good guys, or kind of like the Boys. They'll be like the Boys, where they are good for the media, not good for the people.
Yeah.
So this could be like the Authority or the Elite, which will eventually lead us to Justice League versus the Authority.
Yeah, which would be kind of cool. Paradise Lost, also another great series. Again, it's one of those unless you're very deep into DC, you may have not heard of, but again, it's going to be a definitely great series about that one. Batman the Brave and the Bold did have some tweaks to it. Number one, Damian Wayne is going to be the Robin in this story, and they're kind of going a different, I'm not going to say a different direction just because of Damian Wayne, but they're kind of trying to focus more on that type of storytelling. I forgot who actually did the run for that.
Oh no, this is Grant Morrison's run, because
that's the name.
The cover they showed, that wasn't Bruce, that was Dick when he was Batman.
Yeah, that's what I want to go with, because I was trying to remember whose run it was.
So the thing we got to talk about Brave and the Bold is it's establishing Damian. So this is going to be like the Son of the Demon Head storyline and whatnot. He did not say that Damian is the first Robin. He just said that Damian is the Robin. So this can be used to backdoor in Nightwing, Red Hood, Tim Drake. And it's just one of those things, like, we could have Tim Drake in the first however long of the movie. Because if you guys don't know, Damian just beats the crap out of Tim on their first meeting, knocks him out, and steals his costume.
That was still messed up.
So yeah, I mean, it's messed up. So this is going to be basically the taming of the shrew all over again with Damian, so to speak. Well, no, I'm down for it. I want to know who's playing their Talia.
Fair point. Booster Gold is another series which a lot of people kind of guessed that Chris Pratt would probably make the role, just because.
The only time I accept something with Chris Pratt.
I have to say this with a straight face, because when someone said it to me, I cracked up laughing. Someone said Chris Pratt would be perfect for the role of Booster Gold because it's basically a person that's wanting to be famous but never seems to make it. And they said Chris Pratt would be perfect. I was like, you're not wrong.
I'm petty on things.
It's like, you're not wrong.
So,
but damn,
this needs to be teamed up with JM DeMatteis. Like, this has to be Bwahaha era Booster Gold.
I think it will be. I think it will be.
If they do have Jaime, they need to go into the Dan Jurgens run of Booster Gold.
Yeah.
Where he teams up, because we have such wonderful lines is, do you think they see us? Jaime, were four men in brightly colored spandex in a clear bubble in a vacuum in an endless time void. They saw us.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and I mean they do need to have Blue Scroll team up with Blue Beetle just because it was great comic lines between those two. The next one, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. This was actually based on a comic that we pulled. You pulled not too long ago, wasn't it, Joe?
Yep, we went over this entire book. You may remember such instances as Space Alabama, circa 1950.
Yeah.
Kara being trapped on a planet with a green sun and shouting how basically Clark's a little bitch because he only lasted 30 minutes on this planet and she had to last 15 hours.
Yeah, and the
this was pretty much just kind of an intergalactic space Conan the Barbarian plot where it's just Supergirl, who's now 21 and roaming space with her kid friend Ruthie to get revenge on someone who killed Ruthie's dad.
Yeah.
I will say this book is spectacular. Tom King is directly involved in this movie, as he should be. And this has caused that book to blow up so gargantuanly. It is out.
Yeah.
It is sold out everywhere. I am so glad I got my copy.
Yep. And of course, the big surprise, which for me and Joe, I know we both loved this when we heard this news, that Gunn is running with Swamp Thing. Now we do not have any details, or do we, Joe? Because I
have two details.
Okay, we have details.
It is confirmed to be a horror movie.
Okay.
It is confirmed already that Alan Moore hates it.
So it must be good.
Well, no, it's just Alan Moore, and it's TV, and it's some sort of production, and they're more than likely using his Swamp Thing Unlimited or Swamp Thing Evolution or something. It's the Alan Moore Swamp Thing. We know that because
wouldn't it be Unlimited then?
Maybe.
I would think Unlimited, but
it's just the running gag. People of if it's not a comic book but a comic movie, Grandpa Wizard Man Alan Moore automatically hates it.
Yeah, but again, and also the other thing about this is, guys, you see at the bottom, so a lot of people are going Elseworlds. This is why I say Gunn and Safran are freaking geniuses, because a lot of people, number one, were worried about Matt Reeves' The Batman, which me and Joe both liked, that a sequel is coming out for it, but they were worried about how that would fit in with Gunn and Safran's universe. So Gunn has sat there and has told us, hey, they're not a part of the continuity, but they're considered Elseworlds. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, Elseworlds is like the what if of DC, so Joker, the Batman, the Joker sequel, which is a musical for reasons beyond my comprehension, the Batman Part 2, Teen Titans Go, and even Superman and Lois are all considered Elseworlds, but still a part of the DC universe. I'm really surprised that number one, Superman and Lois is going to, of all the CW shows that are survived outside of The Flash, which we'll talk about that episode later on, but Superman and Lois, which me and Joe both thought was really the crown jewel of CW, and the fact that it is getting another season, to consider it Elseworlds will do it justice. The Batman Part 2, really want to see where they go from there. Teen Titans Go, it's entertaining. I can't lie about that. But Joe, any thoughts on the Elseworlds as far as the slate goes, or any thoughts on that?
I'm still pushing for Stanley Tucci to be Mr. Freeze.
I can see that. That would be. Are we talking animated series, Mr. Freeze? Or are we talking?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Just seeing Stanley Tucci there with the red spectacles and
I guess
talking somewhat morosely about Nora.
Yes,
he's got a freeze gun to Batman's head.
I thought that's the route you were going, because I was like, Stanley Tucci is Mr. Freeze, animated series, because the red shades, the suit, and his cadence. Yep, that'll work. But that is the slate that is for DC. So tell us in the comments, do you like it? Do you hate it? I personally have no issue with it. Joe, any comments?
No, other than the fact that it's Hal in Lanterns, but I'll get over it. We get other Lanterns in there. That just means my dream will eventually come true, and we'll have someone cast as Kyle. I'm down.
Oh, I knew you were gonna go back to that. And speaking of things to go back to, before we get to the Nintendo Direct, we did want to go ahead and speaking of DC movies and other movies that we reviewed. Joe, I know you watched Legion of Superheroes. Don't you want to give your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's not bad. It is a continuation in the Tomorrowverse, which is the newest version of the DC animated universe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a bit more graphic than I initially intended. Was not expecting that level of violence. Not all the Legionnaires make it out. I'll leave it at that. And then you do get to see the after effects of the attack.
Okay.
This is also kind of expanding on a episode. This is kind of an elongated retelling of when Supergirl met the Legion of Superheroes in Justice League Unlimited, is what this really is.
Okay.
The other thing we are establishing in this movie is who the primary antagonists of the Tomorrowverse are, and it is the villain group only known as the Circle.
Ah.
They've been going since, I believe they said, the 1700s, and are even in the 31st century.
Okay.
Like I said, it's good establishing. There's after credit scene that definitely sets up something big because the Circle uses its substantial powers to potentially eliminate
Okay.
two big DC superheroes.
Hmm.
Just like wipes them right out. Supposedly wipes them like right off the map.
Okay.
So it is worth watching. I enjoyed it. I know it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I had a good time with it. Um,
I will probably go back. I mean, at first I skipped it, but now
the Brainiac kind of reminds me of Donatello from Rise of TMNT.
that wait, TMNT, that weird or that off?
That off and just that like kind of I'm a genius at I'm the emotionless genius, but like I still care about what you say.
Oh, emo genius. Okay.
No, not emo genius. Kind of what it was that said. Spectrum genius.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll probably go back and give it a shot because I was on the I know when me and Joe were talking about, I was like, I don't know because like I said, DC movies sometimes DC movies, I should say, sometimes are hit and miss, but
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, okay, I can probably go back and look at that one. But another quick movie review, guys, that we have, because I know me and Joe both saw this on Amazon Prime. Lupin versus Cat's Eye. Now, for all those that don't know Lupin the Third, number one, great anime. Number two, it's I won't say it's as long as One Piece. It's kind of been around. I think it's around its 50th anniversary for Lupin the Third, if memory serves me right. And I think it's
Pretty
40,
close to it. There are just multiple iterations of Lupin. There's no one consistent through line.
Right. Because I know for Cat's Eye, it's the same. Cat's Eye is basically Lupin, but with women. But I think that's closer to 40 years. But anyway, that movie right now is on Amazon Prime. Really quickly, because I don't really want to spoil it, because anything I say kind of spoils it. But needless to say, if you watched any Lupin the Third, any iteration of it, or any iteration of Cat's Eye, the movie is wonderfully done. Definitely a lot of action. Really like the twist in the story. And plus with Lupin, let's be honest, he is that dude. I think if someone, I think, well, did Lupin come out first or did Trigun? Because I could have sworn they based it off.
Oh, Lupin's been around since the 70s.
Okay, so Trigun is basically based off Lupin because this man is his luck. If this was a D&D game, he has maxed out his luck because that's about the best way I could put that. But again, I thought it was a great movie. Joe, what are your thoughts on it?
I really enjoyed it. I had to look into Cat's Eye, which is on demand on Pluto, the entire series, so you can go watch it there. Lupin, different variations and iterations of this. His pink jacket personality is about Lupin in his 40s, I would imagine. And this also takes place in the 80s, so I would imagine he would be 40, considering he's been around in the 60s and 70s. His green jacket form, I want to say, is like in his mid 20s.
Yeah.
Red Jacket is in his 30s, Pink Jacket is his 40s, where Lupin is a bit more aggressive, much more willing to just flat out end things
Yeah.
with his opponent than most often less than comedic hijinks. Uh, that is not always that is also the case here in this thing. Like he has no problem putting people down in this movie.
At all.
Yeah, no problem, none. Like I said, this goes to show an older Lupin meeting the younger sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Very good movie. I like the twist with they're doing it for family. Lupin's doing in this for to restore his an honor, honor and agreement he made to somebody.
Yeah.
The girls are in this for family reasons.
Yeah.
It's also nice to see the two cops meet up. Toshi is like a giant Zenigata fan, and Zenigata cannot get his name right to save his life.
That man was Will Jordan. I'm sorry. That just
it's so good. I mean, the CG is going to throw a lot of people off, but you know, anime's just moving in that direction anyways.
Pretty much
with a lot of things. So this style worked in its favor. You got to be able to do a bit more action based and probably not break several hands.
Yeah.
And overwork several key artists.
I'm just gonna leave that alone because I know where that shot was at. But overall, like I said, overall it was a great movie. Can't really knock it. Now, because I do want to get really quick through this before we get to the Nintendo Direct, because that's going to I try not to tear up on that because I had great news from that. Outside,
we will spoil one thing about the Nintendo Direct. There is now 80% less farming.
You ain't wrong. But before we get to the Nintendo Direct, I just gotta say this really quickly about Record of Ragnarok. Part 2 did come out on Netflix. It did not disappoint. That is all I'm going to say. The battles themselves, if you thought between Adam and Zeus was impressive, there are some battles in this second season that just went over the top. They definitely did the assignment. Like I said, not wanting to give a lot of spoilers because it is leading to something. I don't want to say it, but if you were on the fence about watching on Netflix, I highly recommend that you do until we get our Baki and until we get our next Baki and our next King and Ashura, which doesn't look like it may not happen anytime soon, but it's Netflix. They change their minds all the time. But in the meantime, definitely check out Record of Ragnarok. Also, it is not for kids. I feel a need. I have to say that because a lot of people saw Aphrodite and was surprised. I was like, it tells you off the bat it is not for kids when it starts. Just saying, it tells you.
If you want manservants to hold up your boobs, then probably not for kids.
I mean, it literally tells you it's not for kids. So, hey, if your kids watch at that point, that's on you. So, that being said, we are going ahead and go into the Nintendo Direct. I did find a 6-minute clip that goes through all the trailers for it, which will play on this side as we're just reviewing it because, Nintendo does not like sound. Correct, as Joe said, 80% less for July 21st of this year, if you're into that. Correct. So it'll pay off. I had another day. Have any ever played this game? Like, is it just?
Yeah, dude. Like you're so broken up because the video's playing. I don't know what's going on.
I've never played Dead Cells. Have you ever played Dead Cells?
Oh, we're back. Okay. The thing froze so long that I couldn't see what was going on. Dead Cells? No, but I am interested in the Castlevania. The Tron thing? Sure.
Now, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, that is interesting. The fact that he died, but because you're a ghost, you can just inhabit other bodies. I mean, if Wonder Woman 84 could do it, anybody else can, I guess. But it is interesting.
This one I'm looking forward to. The level 5 Deca Police.
That is it. I looked at that and I was like, is it a Okay, so that comes out in 2023. And this is Bayonetta, which I forgot what they called this one. They're not calling it Surveys and the Lost Demon. That's the word I was looking for. It's an origin story.
You know
Which
what
again, I'm
this
not.
reminds me of? You know what
What's
that
that?
reminds me of? What's it called? The
What's
one with
that?
Amaterasu the dog. Oh, Okami Den.
Amaterasu the dog. Oh yeah, okay.
Where
I was trying to remember
in
what the
the
Amaterasu the dog.
you play with her puppy.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. And of course, the Illusion Island. Okay, there's Fire Emblem. I was so off in the beginning of this. They're actually coming out with an expansion pack, and I have yet to start Fire Emblem, but I still want to play it. Although expansion pass looks like way to be later today. Okay. I have been wanting to put that on my list, but have yet to actually cop it.
What?
Because it does look actually pretty cool. Uh, um, but actually, and Omega Strikers. So we just basically took Overwatch and made it smaller. Which again, I guess I'm not
This one
against, but it's
reminds
like
me of
it's basically just Overwatch soccer.
it's multiplayer Windjammers.
Pretty much. And this was the dungeon, I'm about to say Etria Odyssey. And I think this is the game you were looking forward to, wasn't it, Jeff?
This is one of them. That
Advanced
and the Xenoblade 3 DLC.
Yeah. And then of course, this was one I was looking forward to, the remastered Metroid Prime, which is a beautiful thing to actually see that. Yeah. Which actually was out. That's been out since yesterday. This one was like more of a Kirby type game, but I still want to try this one as well. Which this is
No, it is a Kirby type game. It's the epilogue to this game.
It was to me just talked earlier where games, Game Boy games will now be available on Nintendo Online. If you're a fan of Zelda for Four Swords, the cap, and all that stuff, I am looking forward to that.
It's still freezing up on my end because the video's playing.
This was another. Yeah, available summer swap between roles. Interesting. No, that's just wild that, okay, that's fancy, like The Girl Who Steals Time. And this was another steampunk game. Actually, this is Professor Lawton. And Minecraft. You know what? I still want to know what the attraction is behind Minecraft. Blank. Okay, that looks pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of Onion Knight. And the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, which will be available April 14th of this year. Have a Nice Death. Okay.
I'll be getting that too.
Let's see. Baseball Power Pros. Okay. For all those that, I get the baseball feel on. Disney Dreamlight Valley. New Realm update, of course, April 2023. Tales of Symphony. I messed that name up completely.
Symphonia.
Yoshi's Island. Is it still? Oh, it must be expansions. Expansions and new characters. So booster course pass. Okay. The crown jewel of it all.
Yep, now it's Link nuts and bolts.
That's coming out literally May 12th. Oh, I am so freaking happy about that. But yes, we apologize, guys. That was basically Nintendo Direct. It was longer, trust me. But that's speed up in 6 minutes to save us time. But Joe, are we? I'm gonna be honest. I expected some updates. Um, I wasn't expecting Metroid Prime Remastered because again, not gonna knock it. I think it was a great GameCube game. I would love to be able to play it on my Switch. Of course, for me, Zelda was the next Hearing Tears of the Kingdom when that's coming out. Definitely buying that. Which really quickly, it is going to be a $70 game. Now, does that mean that Nintendo is going to $70 games? They say no.
Yes.
They said no. They said no. This is not a. They said it. Now let me stress this very heavily. They said no. This is not a sign of the times that games will be going to $70. However,
I've already bought the very first $70 Switch game.
Yeah, but it does beg the question because yes, for all those that don't know, a long time ago, us paying $50-$60, if you ever notice, unless you buy used games, or if you're like some people, which I call them the smarter ones, they wait until a good deal goes by, or they wait for a couple of years to go by and wait for that price to drop down to a nice for it to drop down to a nice $9.99 or $11.99, depending on where you go. But they're not paying $50 to $60. But does this mean that does it mean in the future that games are going to hit $70? It's hard to say because let's be honest, in this day and age, money's tight. No matter where you go. And yeah, it used to be that you kind of have to be a little bit more frugal, but do I think prices are headed that way? I don't think so. I don't think Nintendo wants to alienate its customer base because if you're going to do 70, then 80 and 90, even though there are already packs out there, especially when you have those, help me out here, Joe, when you have those Ultimate Edition and those Masters and Platinum and Gold status where, I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, God of War Ragnarok had one collector's edition that was well over $250 just to have a Hammer of Mjolnir. So I'm not saying that games won't go there, but I think they're kind of using this as bait. But what do you think, Joe?
I mean, DLC or collector's edition are always going to be a thing. It just depends on how badly you want it or how badly the collector's market is. And, it's a Zelda. So, that thing's going to be at least 130, 120, 130. The only problem I have with them charging $70 is this game doesn't look like it's a game that's been in work for 6 years because let's be completely honest, a lot of this is an asset flip, and all they're really doing is adding the Skyward Overworld.
Yeah.
And I hope to God dungeons underneath the map.
Can't argue that.
But like everything else, like those moblins and pogoblins, they don't look any better than they did in Breath of the Wild 1.
That's where I'm a little concerned because you're right. I mean, it is taking Breath of the Wild and you're just really running off that platform and you're adding Skyward Sword. You're exactly right. And just from the trailer, I'm like, does it merit $70? Now, again, if you want to play it, you're gonna buy it. But yeah, I can agree with that. It doesn't look like it's worth $70 unless the content that's coming with it next is going to be free, which we know it's not. But to me, it's still going to be that area of, are they going to test the waters? Or they're just going to go right forward and say, hey, from here on out, all of our games are this price. It's just the way it is. But again, I had no problems with the Direct. I know there's going to be a lot of games out there that are for everybody. I know for me, I mean, Metroid, Fire Emblem, Octopath Traveler,
the Xenoblade 3 story expansion interests me. We will just say what everybody else is saying. We get to see Shulk. We get to see Daddy Rex, I think is what the new terminology is for that guy, because it is adult Rex who, if you have not played 3, you find out he's a father of all 3 of the female characters.
Yeah.
To which a couple of my friends like, well, that's not right. It's like, look, polygamy is a bad thing on our world. We can't judge a video game character.
Pretty much, even though.
Well, let me
you got
rephrase that. Our world in Utah. Their world in Utah.
I thought you were gonna say Arkansas, but I thought you were gonna go Arkansas for a second.
No, but like seriously, the other reason why I think the Xenoblade expansion is so good is I think that's going to fill in the gap of why those two worlds became Three's world. Or 1 and 2's world will be joining everybody with the main heroes to fight the true final ultimate big bad in the climax of everything. Oh my god.
Yeah, I can see that. But it's gonna go ahead.
The other thing people are kind of annoyed about is there was no Pokemon. Guys, you gotta remember Pokemon's get their own direct. Like we will get we might get an announcement either at the end of this month or sometime mid-March because they gotta announce their Q4 Pokemon game. Because Nintendo technically has nothing past Q2 now in terms of game-wise. Like everything is either spring or summer. There are no fall games. And the only time a Pokemon joins a direct is when it's Treehouse for not quite E3, which is a great segue into our next segment.
Oh, do we want to talk about E3 and how empty it's going to be?
What E3?
What he means by that, and I apologize, I don't have the article up. It's just that E3 used to be where E3 was our
Sears Christmas catalog.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Yes, E3 was our Sears catalog, Sears Christmas catalog, which means that every IP, every maker would bring their games there, bring trailers, bring surprises. Now, over the years, unfortunately, a lot of those IPs and the big three, well, now big four, have all left. It is now to the point that it has been reported that Microsoft, Sony, Square Enix, pretty much every major IP will not be at this year's E3. Reason being is because a lot of them saw success with their own launches, their own showcases. Of course, PlayStation has their showcases. Microsoft has their drops every once in a blue moon. As you can tell, Nintendo Direct has their drops. They just seem to find more success on doing it on their own than bringing it back to an E3 stage. So you're probably wondering what's going to happen with E3. More than likely, it's going to focus more on indie gaming and PC games. Just because you still may see digital, you may see a digital Devolver still there. You may see some unknown game,
probably Ubisoft, Activision.
I still think Ubisoft may do their own thing. I think Ubisoft's going to pull out too. I really think that.
In the grand scheme of things, they're just going to go show off their trailers on Keighley's Summer of Games.
Yeah.
It happens right before E3. So money-wise, them doing their own thing saves them renter space, staff, having to rush out a vertical slice of a game.
Yeah.
It saves them so much money in the grand scheme of things. That doing a direct is just more financially sound on their end. I mean, Sony's going to give you a concert you don't want no matter what anyways.
Pretty much. I don't know. That last one, God of War, that was at the Game Awards. I'm sorry. That was at
the Game Awards. Xbox will greatly disappoint you by cutting their own legs out from under themselves by saying everything on the Xbox is going to be on the PC, where frame rate is unlocked and it doesn't matter.
But they have been killing it with being able to play on Game Pass day one.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no argument there. But they also can't keep a promise to save their life when it comes to Halo.
That is also true. That is true.
Nintendo's just going to keep farming the same 3 IPs until they're no longer suitable. Then it's going to go to the graveyard that is already occupied by Pilot Wings, Kid Icarus, F-Zero.
Not F-Zero.
I mean, the only one that actually crawled out of that graveyard is Metroid, because
True.
Dread got so well. Oh, Star Fox is in that graveyard.
Star Fox has always needed another game. I will
Star
carry
Fox
that.
always needs another game. Here's the problem with Star Fox: it needs a game that's not Star Fox 1. Every single Star Fox game is a retread or a remake of Star Fox 1 with added elements. The only one that's not is Star Fox 64.
Well, yeah, I guess I can't argue that. You're right. I can't argue that. You're right. I had to think about that for a second. Like, yeah, you're right. Outside that weird one where it was,
How many times have we gone to Corellia 1?
No, it's a fair point because I was thinking about that. That weird. It was a weird GameCube Star Fox game.
Well, Star Fox Adventures, which used to be like a prototype of Banjo or some other game, which got turned into the thing. No, that one I'll do. That one I'll play. That one's actually decent. It's just people were mad because you weren't dogfighting the whole time.
But that was weird. It was, I guess, it was a weird attempt, but no, you're right. Outside Star Fox 64, which I loved, I still think that, oh, that's right. I can go back and go play on my Switch now. Thank you for that.
Now we got Legend of Zelda Nuts and Bolts coming out.
Now I will wait for Tears of the Kingdom. I think, I know we only saw one trailer, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna reserve judgment. I'm still gonna play it, but I'm gonna reserve judgment on that.
I want them to do one thing, and then I'll be super happy.
What's that?
Do away with weapon degradation, or at the very least, give us one weapon type and then let us enhance it over the course of the game.
I mean, the weapon.
Give us a sword, give us a big sword, give us a spear, give us an axe. Make them useful for certain things, and then let us upgrade them over the course of the adventure.
I mean, that's not a bad idea. Or, like I learned where someone said, you get the master sword early in the game, right? And I tried it. I was like, oh, this could have saved me so much time when I was fighting those 4 machines. This could have saved me so much time. But I see your point on that, Joe. But yeah, I mean, sad, like I said before, with E3, it might still be good. Like I said before, I would think that it's an opening for a lot of indie companies to come off and show their games because, E3 is going to have a low risk, high reward situation because, if it bombs, a lot of people didn't watch it. If it was successful, you're going to have more people driving to your channel or social media to see it. But yeah, E3 is going to be a lot quieter, which tells us that's going to be that each of the own brand makers are going to have their own showcases. So we can go from there on that. But other news before we go into some more trailers. Spider-Man, and I never thought I'd say this. Amazon is developing a live action Spider-Man, and it's not the Spider-Man we know. It's Spider-Man Noir. Amazon is working on a live action Marvel series about the 1930s hero. For all those that don't remember, he was in Into the Spider-Verse. Nicolas Cage did voice him. But he actually does have his own comic book line that is basically based in 1930s New York City, where this Spider-Man Noir is a little bit of a older, I'm not going to say foul, but mildly irritable gentleman, but still a great comic book line if you ever get a chance to read it. The only thing that worries me about this, because Spider-Man Noir does deserve a run of his own, but Oren, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. The person that wrote The Lost City and Mortal Kombat is going to be the one to write and executive produce this. The Lost City and Mortal Kombat. For all those that don't remember, those movies didn't really do that well. And the person that did the writing for those 2 movies is going to do the writing for Spider-Man Noir. I'm concerned. I am very concerned. But Joe, your thoughts on this?
Well, I know the creator of Spider-Man Noir is not very thrilled with this version of Spider-Man Noir. Because Spider-Man Noir is kind of rough sometimes.
Yeah.
Just You don't want to know. Trust me.
Read at your own risk. Read at your own
Yeah.
risk.
So these are two very different characters. Thing, I believe an article does say this is more in line, and Chris Miller and Phil Lord will have their hand in this. So this is going to be the Rubik's Cube version of Spider-Man Noir. Also, interesting note: the writer hates the Rubik's Cube joke.
Yeah.
He is not a thrill when people bring him Rubik's Cubes. He's thrilled that people know it, know who his character is more, but not this iteration of the character. Either way, I'm good. It's more Spider-Man stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Always fun to have more wall crawling, but Amazon Prime is an interesting spot of where it would be.
Right.
I guess this is one of those things where Disney still can't technically do have a live action Spider-Man.
Not as long as Sony's holding the cards.
They only have animated story rights, but also live action Spider-Mans are like there's only two others.
Yeah.
One of them involves a giant Megazord, and one of them involves a production crew tossing a fishing net over people half the time.
Pretty much. But I don't know. I'm only concerned just because it's the writer, and with the writer, it doesn't sit well with me, which kind of leads into we got to talk about this because there's no other way we can before we talk about, well, really quickly, Constantine sequel is still in the works, by the way, because Keanu Reeves still attached to it. So I am all for it, but there is no details about it except the fact of that they are still moving forward with it. So just wanted to let that
also, the Val Zod is still moving forward too.
Yeah, which is
the writer says they haven't canceled me. I'm still writing the script.
Yeah, that's why I was like, hey man, they're gonna pay you to keep writing, go for it. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get this out the way. Joe brought this to my attention that the Flash abbreviated season 9 started last night.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Flash.
It had a good plot point, and then immediately dropped it for a scene of bad acting.
Also, heads up, we're going to talk about it. Look, at this point, it's season 9. You're getting 9 episodes. We're not waiting. We're not waiting to express ourselves. So, if you were still intending on watching The Flash, for the next,
no, it's not The Flash. We need to stop lying to these people. It's CW's Iris.
For the next 5 or 6 minutes, you might want to mute us and go do something else. But yeah, it's how can I start this? I had concerns because they have this issue. Why is this issue always like you did time? So you mess with the timeline so much in every season. Why can't it be a season where it's not involving the timeline? It's almost like it's like shooting yourself in the foot and reloading.
I don't mind that where he's like telling her, hey, this is what her life's going to be like from here on out. And she brings up a fantastic point, which I wish they dwelled on more, where Barry's essentially taking away everyone's free choice just to get the perfect life.
Yeah.
Like, that's fantastic. That I really liked. And then she just like puts on her cap and just like, well, I'm going to bed.
It's just I said it before, say again, I have nothing against the actress that plays Iris. I think she does a phenomenal job. I am just honestly tired of why that she has to be a central point in the story.
And props to Grant Gustin too in this. He has body dysmorphia. He is very self-conscious about it, which is why unlike nearly everybody in the CW, he kind of tends to keep his clothes on.
Yeah.
He had to work out real hard because he's very uncomfortable in topless scenes because of his body dysmorphia. So, props to him on hitting it and starting to feel comfortable enough with doing this kind of stuff. I just want to give props there on that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. What are some of the other things that drove me nuts? The Chester whatever thing that should have been resolved last season.
It's
where
still
they kiss
dangling
each
out
other
there.
finally. And
Yeah.
we're gonna skip around in parts, guys. We're not telling this episode in linear fashion. No.
There's no need. There's no point. There's no point.
Like they kiss. It's a big kiss, swooping around multiple circle, and then they like split apart, look at each other, and get really awkward with each other. It's like, I understand you're both nerds, and maybe physical contact
It was borderline cringy.
bothers you, may like take you back a bit, but this will they, won't they BS should have been done last season.
Yeah, fully agree. But the other part that killed me was how ineffective was Captain Boomerang. It's like you brought him in there just to have a villain in for the episode. That's it.
To be fair, his own father fed him to zombies in Blackest Night, so there's no problem here.
The ends justify the means.
Well, because he was also breaking the rogue's code. So he was feeding women, women, and children to Zombie Digger, who was in a hole. So the rogues killed him.
No, fair point. But it's just the whole thing, that the whole Groundhog's Day episode. I'm like, why?
Why would you start your season with Groundhog's Day?
That's the part.
Why?
That's the part that I'm trying to figure out. It's like, you know, you have Barry who is so bent on following a timeline, and I'm like, did you not learn this lesson in like seasons 2 through 6 about timelines and how they don't work as well as you think they do? And I'm like, why are we rehashing? It's like Barry doesn't learn. At the same time, you still, I mean, what, trying to make Cecile and then Caitlin at the end, which at this point we all know who Caitlin is. So
Caitlin's is Cobalt Blue. I mean, if they call her anything else, I'm. It's not like I'm going to be mad. I'm just going to be like, whatever.
Yeah.
The only one that kind of shares our feeling in this whole thing, in character, is Joe, who's just like, yeah, I'm getting really tired of this. We got to go.
Yeah,
we got to leave.
Joe is basically us. Joe is basically us.
Hey, Cecile, you remember that other kid you have? You don't? Yeah, we got to go.
Yeah. But it's just like I said, for it to be the first of an abbreviated season, it just, I mean, even at the very end, if you made it that far, that also I should have brought that picture too, because Joe had pointed this out to me, and I should have pulled up the pictures with this. But for the simple fact of the matter is, they show the Red Death. Now, for all those that don't know who the Red Death is basically if Batman had flash powers. And
Batman absorbs Barry Allen into himself via comic book chicanery.
Yeah. And still has a sense of justice. But in this case, he wants to, or I should say she. And what I mean by she is just that I will try to pull these pictures as fast as humanly possible. So, but Joe found this, and I'm just like, when I saw it just, I just can't.
And the way they introduced Red Death in this episode is so terrible. It's like you see the vibrating form, and then she does a quick sprint back to ricochet off the wall to do the brief Batman pose and get like electric bat wings that even I can do in Photoshop, and I can't work Photoshop for crap.
It's just good and terrible. That's about the best way I could put it. For all those, and I'm still waiting because right now me and Xfinity are not really liking each other. So, but while getting that, so what winds up happening is just that, well, we find out it's the Red Death, and on Twitter, and I cannot make this up, that if you go to Twitter and you look up certain things,
I think it's actually her Twitter.
This is the part once I pull this up is going to be how can I put this ever so nicely? Here it is. Okay.
Kayfabe is dead.
See, because they basically sat there and showed it. And what I mean by they sat there and showed it, they literally have, and don't get me wrong, I love Javisa. Javisa is the girl who played Ryan in Batwoman. And despite her best efforts, try to give us a great Batwoman, but we understand it was a sinking ship, but you did your best. That being said, however, she's playing Red Death. Now, for all those who are wondering, Will, why would you and Joe have a problem with this? We don't. The problem we have with this is that it's already been known. It's known already, which for something of this nature, why is this already known at the first part of the season?
I do have a problem with this. I do have a problem with this. It's not that she's playing it. It's who should have played it to close out this, because this is the end of the Arrowverse.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the absolute end of the Arrowverse. If we're gonna do Red Death, you should have made it a corrupted version of Ollie from another universe to have him be the final villain of the final show of the Arrowverse.
But you know what's funny though, and I'm gonna call it. I think they want him to come back as Green Arrow, but they don't want him to come back as a villain. I think that's the reason why we don't get it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest. I think that's the reason why we won't get that. I think the reason is just that they wanted to basically go with this and say, you know what, this is, we love to have her back on. Amazing actress. I'm glad she's getting the role of Red Death. But yeah, they wanted to show Ollie off as a hero. So because of that, that's why I think is why they ran with this. But this should have been something to sit on. This was a sit on moment. You could have still had a great final abbreviated season, and you could have let this hang in there around episodes 4 through 5. 4 through 5, you could have sat on this and let this been a surprise. It'd been like, oh, you dirt. Oh, at least give us that. Because at this point, like I said, this is just 2 days ago. 2 days ago, and the episode just came out yesterday.
I mean, the producer also said that we are going to be getting our, what are they called? Legends of Tomorrow episode 2 to wrap things up for them too.
And see this
in the Flash.
See, this is why I think the simple fact of the matter is just that they did. I mean, there's understanding, and then honestly, you just don't care. That's what I get out of that. It's like you honestly don't care about how we want this to end. Don't get me wrong. When the Flash first came out, I watched it religiously, loved it, because at first seasons 1 through 3 were great writing. You told the story well, and then after 4 and 5, you kind of you went right. But it's like you could have sat on that. You could have sat on that for it to be, for your big bad to be a surprise in the middle of an abbreviated season. But I get it. For the next 8 episodes, it's got to be on fast forward. Let's just call it what it is. But yeah, it's like I said. Shout out to the actors and actresses of the Flash. But that first episode,
we love her to death. There's no problem with her portraying it. There's no problem with her being it. It's just, as I said, kayfabe's dead.
Yeah, pretty much. But moving right along though, I did not know about this, and I should apologize because Joe knew about this and said that it will be up my alley. Transformers Earthspark. If you haven't seen it, here's the trailer.
Transformers Earthspark returns with brand new episodes.
I was hoping you'd show up.
Just like old times.
Rolling out new boss.
At last, we meet again. It does not need to be like this.
That bring the heat.
Grimlock? Yes! Something's wrong.
If I wore shorts, I'd have to go change them.
Transformers Earthspark. Stream new episodes with your family March 3rd, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Okay, so I have a whole season to catch up on. But Joe, any thoughts on this? Because like I said, I haven't seen it. I'm gonna make it my point to go back and go watch and get caught up. But your thoughts on Earthspark?
Yeah, no, Earthspark I really enjoyed. This takes place in this universe of Transformers, the Great War is over. Autobots won. Megatron has officially become a good guy. He is super best friends with the primary protagonist's mother, which makes it just hilarious, and I love it to death. He is also very easily annoyed by humanity, but is willing to fight for it because he has kind of come in line with the IDW Megatron of, I am just so tired of this fighting. And the Decepticons, we were originally fighting for independence and freedom from a very corrupt government, and now we're just war villains and war criminals and terrorists, and the ideal is no longer there.
Nice.
So the idiom of peace through tyranny has now become terror in the sky and honor in the streets.
Okay, so that gets...
Huh?
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
They have a prison. Starscream is already locked up, thank God. That means that Shockwave is officially running the Decepticon forces on Cybertron. I am very much looking forward to this. We see Breakdown of the Stunticons, who's a friend of Bumblebee. We've already seen one of the Combaticons, Swindle, in season 1. He's a main character. We see Transmetal Tarantulas in this trailer, which that was a big shocker for me. I did not expect us to see a Predacon in this. The Dinobots or whatever. I mean, every season of Transformers is going to have the Dinobots in some way, shape, or form, be they good guys or bad guys.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I definitely got some catching up on to do. But as we get to our next trailer, really quickly, for all those who are fans of Spartacus when it first showed on Stars, a new Spartacus series is on the way. It does not have a name yet. It has been confirmed that we will be getting it sometime in 2024. It is going to fall in line with Spartacus, Blood in the Sand, and the War of the Damned. So
can't this be called Spartacus More Blood and More Sand?
If it is, I'll be laughing.
It is, I tried watching the first episode. This show is not for me. I guarantee you that half this reason succeed is you got to see Lucy Lawless doing it with half the cast.
Close to it, but yeah. Close to it. But no. But again, for me, I loved it. I want to see where it's going because again, it is supposed to be in the same vein as those stories, but more information will be coming out in 2024. But speaking of history, Mel Brooks has decided in the search for more money to give us another trailer for History of the World Part 2. It just needs to be played.
It's Harriet Tubman. The inventor of the bathtub?
How did these dumbasses enslave us?
Roll it.
Oh, hello.
Who is this?
It's your mama. If you're my mother, what is your last name?
Mel. It's my mother. That confirms it.
I'm Kublai Khan.
Earhart.
Join my masturbates. Masterclass. What?
Some call him broke and corny.
My new book. I'm a soup truck from soup to nuts. If I'm not going slurp, 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 I'm eating soup.
I know you hear me. You got a hands for it. You're just not gonna look at me?
Sorry, I only have big pieces of silver.
We're about to embark on the biggest campaign in the history of the world, Part 2.
Noah, we're supposed to get 2 of every animal.
I got 2 Chihuahuas, 2 Pekingeses, 2 pugs. Actually, I got 3 pugs. Don't tell God.
What ideas have you got for Shakespeare?
What if we do a play, but it's got music and singing?
people sing their feelings.
Someday the masses will adore me as together we stand tall.
Anyone else with a good idea?
His World Part 2. I got nothing. I got nothing.
I think I'm going to enjoy the Joseph Stalin part.
Oh, Jack Black is sick. Oh, wow. Jack Black, Wanda Sykes is Harriet Tubman. Oh. Oh, okay. So again, Mel Brooks, History of the World Part 2. I cannot wait for that to come on Hulu. I would say kids should be allowed to watch it, but
no,
that's on you. That's on you. You want your kids to watch it? That's on you. I'm not saying nothing because for me and Joe, we got raised off the first History of the World and Blazing Saddles and Spaceballs. We're used to this.
And the Monty Python movies.
We're kind of used to this. So please do not use History of the World as your learning channel, because I just feel like that's going to go all the way wrong. But I'm watching it. It's Mel Brooks. It's hard not want to watch anything Mel Brooks has done. But to Mel Brooks, we are waiting for Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. We are waiting for it.
You're not allowed to die. You're just not allowed to die.
Oh man, the last trailer I got, guys, before we get to any news and to the comic book pools, again, I was surprised by this. I did not think we would get another Luther series. I thought it would be on BBC, but this one is actually on Netflix. Here's the trailer for Luther: The Fallen Son.
Superintendent Schenk. We need to know where he is.
Look, I know he's in prison.
Except he's not in prison.
Of course he's not.
You promised me you could help. You know what they did to my son.
I need to stop this man. I'm still a copper.
Not anymore. And if you refuse to stand down, tactical unit will shoot you dead.
Something's coming.
John, I looked you right in the eye. Because I was curious. I wanted to know if you'd see it in me. Because that is who you are, isn't it? The man who knows all about people like me.
Make an announcement.
He wants the world to think his bad dream has come true.
20 that I get him
Before you get me.
Make it 50. I know this man. I can never worse to be done.
You see me now?
I am enjoying myself. Let the nightmare come. Because I'm ready.
All right, so that was Luther: The Fallen Son. As you guys can see, it is. I didn't know it was going to be a movie. I apologize. So it will be in select theaters, but it will be on Netflix March 10th. That's a day before my birthday. So cool. But no, I've been a fan of Luther since I got introduced to it on the BBC. And if you guys don't know, BBC does their shows differently than American shows. I think they like sticking with the number 13. They like doing a holiday special. And I think Luther on BBC has 3 seasons. I think 3 seasons. But if you haven't watched it, you definitely should. This is gonna be different because I'm trying to figure out how Luther got in prison, because I must have missed it. I must have missed an episode somewhere where he wound up in prison, or they're gonna explain that, I guess in Fallen Sun. But again, no argument with that. Andy Serkis, that dude can play a good guy. He can play a bad guy, but dang it, he should never have been killed off in Black Panther. That's just what I'm just saying, because he was a great Claw. But Joe, any thoughts on Luther and the Fallen Sun?
Not too much. I really don't follow Luther all that much. Kind of hard to in my house, considering the Netflix is usually taken over for K-dramas.
Fair enough.
I want to say the reason why it's like that is I believe the BBC is a branch of the government.
Yeah.
So they're only allowing series to have so much production money, which is why series are either between 6 to 13 episodes a season.
But they make it work, though. I mean, look at Doctor Who. Doctor Who, the
IT Crowd.
Yeah. The Office, also all shining examples of it. But no, Ted Lasso, but that's really Apple TV. But still, Ted Lasso is still a great show. But yeah, looking forward to it. Aside from that, that's really all the news that I have. Joe, anything we are missing before we go to comics?
That new Flash movie poster came out that is very much Batman, very little Flash, which is probably what the press junket's going to be like the whole time. Yeah,
well, they chose their option. They chose option 1. Well, actually, no, option 2. We said option 2. They still will stick with him, but he gets very little exposure. Wow. He has very little interaction because exposure does not really. The exposure is the wrong word to choose for that man. He gets very little interaction with the public. That's about the best way to put that. So he chose
rightfully so, considering the kidnapping charges, among other things. My problem is that the studio is still supporting somebody who's a convicted felon.
And yet, like I said, I would hope that Gunn. I hope, and again, my hope is at the end of Flashpoint, at the end of Flash movie, we have a different Flash. That's just me. I hope. I would hope. Like our good friend of ours, Chris Fury, on his show, had sat there and said, "You know, it'd be great. It would be great that at the end something does happen, and all you hear is my name is Wally West instead of Barry Allen, and resets everything."
That or Barry just is sucked into the Speed Force, or has to give himself to the Speed Force at the end to undo everything.
Yeah. Either way, I would be happy with that. But no, that I think would be better. Like I said before, it's hard because I want to see Michael Keaton back in '89 Batman. I want to actually be able to see that because we're not going to get a lot of him. I mean, I doubt we're going to get another Vulture out of him, even though Morbius did horribly bad. Tom Holland did sign on to do another trilogy of Spider-Man, so there's that. But I don't know. It's just I have mixed feelings about the Flash. But anyway, what else we got?
I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, while you're getting the comic book, say what?
So okay. Let me pull the stuff up.
Oh no, you're good. But while you're getting that together, really quickly before we go into our comic book pools, because I have some words to say, especially about Dark Web. We do want to give a shout out to Rick's Comic City. They support us, so we support them. If you are in the Middle Tennessee area, they have 3 locations: Nashville, Tennessee, Clarksville, Tennessee, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Definitely check them out. They were voted Nashville's #1 go-to for comic books and other medias. So definitely check them out as well. Also, you can go to the website, as you can see there, rickscomiccity.com, to definitely go ahead and look on there, peruse, if you will, from anywhere from comic books to grade 8 comics, yes, and gift cards. Because if you can't figure out what to get that person on Valentine's Day, get a gift card. Nobody turns down free money. Also, if you are not in the Middle Tennessee area, but you do have a local comic book store near you, please go to them, support them. If you have a library, please continue to go to that library. Library do carry the most up-to-date copies of comic books, medias, and all those things to your heart's content. So you can read, you can watch, you can write. Again, support your local comic stores, support your local libraries. If you're in the Middle Tennessee area, support Rick's Comic City. And I see Joe's ready to go, sir. So we're going to go ahead and start with that one. All right. Joe fix.
Yeah, we'll do Dark Web last. Plus, we got a fair
All right,
amount of
go for
books
it.
that go with Black History Month.
Yep.
So, yep. Joe Fixit #2, written by Peter David, art by Yildere Sinar, and colors by D. Kniff. This is just picking up where it went along. Pete's just Spider-Man's getting used to Vegas, walks in on Joe with a ton of women who Joe offers. Pete says no. Joe's like, well, if you're married, you can just remember what happened in Vegas stays with Vegas. To which Spider-Man just like immediately bounces. Kingpin is trying to find ways to get what he wants. Tries to hire Joe. Joe says no. Hits Joe with something that makes him Hulk out, and then it just goes from there.
It was weird though. He hit him with a neurotoxin, and it was almost like I thought it was neurotoxin, but it's almost like hypnogas. Because the first thing he sit there and says is just like, "Take out your boss." All right, and of course a fight ensues between the Hulk and Spider-Man, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah, which Pete can probably match Joe Fixit. He's probably just like a little weaker than Joe, but he's also faster than Joe. And I think those hits woke him up, and Joe's just flat out mad.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, you got my full attention now. I'm like, that's not what I meant. But no.
Still not a bad issue. I'm enjoying this. It's just a fun little like kill time comic, kind of like Exterminators was for me. Peter David just likes really telling these in-between stories.
Yeah.
In his Legendary Hulk run. So, it was fun. I loved it.
Oh, it was pretty cool. I couldn't knock it.
This is the new thing that's going on. This is part of Sins of Sinister, I think.
Yeah.
The cover kind of spoils everything that's going to happen at the end of the issue, but the long and short of it is Bishop is training a class of mutants. Some of them known, some of them unknown. Two of my favorites, Armor and Surge, are part of this group, which makes me happy. It gives those two who were very instrumental in their runs of X-Men, which was New X-Men and X Academy era of X-Men, something to do. But like Bishop's kind of going over the edge on their training to the point where Danny like steps in and says like, hey, you're the boss of security, but all the other war chiefs agreed you're pushing these kids way too hard and we're taking them away from you. Which Bishop was like, oh crap, I really am being a bully, aren't I?
It's like that part was funny. It didn't dawn on us like, am I really being that bad? Yes.
It's like, yeah, we're taking the kids away from you in 3 days. Unfortunately, since all mutants were resurrected, for whatever reason, the Strucker twins were resurrected. And if you don't know who the Strucker twins are, they're Baron Strucker's twins, meaning these kids are basically mutant Nazis. That their powers only work if they're in close proximity to each other.
Pretty much.
So I guess Bishops get with Tempo now.
Yeah.
And something happens and causing at the end of the issue Bishop to time travel to an alternate history where the X-Men are black.
It was weird seeing Cyclops. It was weird seeing Cyclops that way. Just
with the dreads.
With locks. I was like,
I thought it'd be this version of Cyclops, which I'm down for.
Yeah. But Cyclops with locks, I was like, I can dig that.
It's fine. I have nothing wrong with him going to an alternate universe where the X-Men are black. It's just kind of a random choice.
Look, for all the
video
games.
But I think this comic is supposed to wrap up this month too. I think this is like a mini. I think there's only like 3 issues. So like exploring what a black X-Men team is like.
Yeah.
Is pretty good because we don't have a lot of, outside of Storm and Prodigy.
You don't really have a lot of characters that like that.
We don't have a lot of black X-Men characters to my knowledge. That's not to say there aren't like characters that aren't like physically mutated that aren't black.
Yeah, but a lot of them got killed off too. There are some that got killed off and never got brought back.
We're missing like all those Children of the Atom kids from earlier last year.
Yeah.
They're around. Some of them are of African descent, but like really the primary ones are Bishop, Tempo, and the other two we mentioned. Like there's just not a lot of black people in X-Men.
True.
Which is a bit ironic considering what X-Men's message is about.
Yeah, or how the whole antithesis of it all.
Yeah.
But no. No, it was still a good issue. It was still a good issue. It was just weird the part that Bishop's like, oh crap. It's like the moment he realized he time traveled, it was like crap.
Crap baskets. So yeah, not a bad book. This is just gonna be a super mini because I think what this does in the grand scheme of things is this is how they get Bishop out of the Sins of Sinister world.
Yeah.
And possibly also the kids. It's not really said who's also stuck in this world. And we know just for sure Bishop.
But we also don't know where Tempo is. Because she got sucked into it as well. So we don't know where she's gonna fall. If she's in the same timeline as Bishop. So that's a whole nother story.
Yep. Over some of the never mind. I am mildly confused about this book, but this is an Al Ewing space book, so this is probably only the start of it. So I have high hopes, but kind of don't know how to feel about this one. In all honesty,
it was off because it's interesting that he caught Mystique at the beginning. He caught Mystique at the beginning and yet somehow missed her at the end.
Yeah.
That's the part where I'm like, wait a second. You're able to spot a fake from a mile away, but the moment you're not paying attention, she gets you the same move again. What is this, Loki? It's like how many more times are you gonna fall for that?
How many times are you gonna fall for what was it? Snake or Get Help?
Yeah. It was Get Help. It was Get Help. But it was just weird that not good.
So the thing is, I don't even think Storm's the main character of this book. I think this book is actually Destiny and Mystique's book because this is the X-Men Red Team. So don't know what's really going on with what they do with Storm in the opening issue unless she also resurrects in Krakoa normally, but from what it sounds like, they are not going to let her resurrect.
No, she gave up. She gave up her
right.
Status. So yeah, she gave that up. So they can't be resurrected anyway. So which is what you wanted anyway. She didn't want to be a part of that. She didn't want to be a part of that collective to actually get resurrected. But
unless this is another double cross and the one they killed was Morph.
It's hard to say.
I expect Wolverine to be lovingly petting a picture in a log cabin soon.
If that.
So I mean, it's going to be really awkward when Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants issue 2 comes out next week. If we don't go, oh, it's a shapeshifter, or oh, it's somebody from Morocco.
True, or
it's an image inducer.
Well, that goes right back in center. That go right back up Sinister's alley. But no, it was a. I guess it was a weird setup into the Sinister. I'm not saying it's not bad to see Storm kind of defeated, but she's not down. At the same time, it did feel like a Destiny and Mystique comic, like you said, the way it was written out. But I'll wait for the next Sins of Sinister, which I think is going to fall under. I want to say Immortal X-Men, if memory serves me right.
Yeah, I think the next one is Immortal X-Men.
Yeah. So I'll just hold judgment till then.
Yep. So this is written by Al Ewing, art by Paco Medina, and J. David Ramos is colorists. Yeah, that one was pretty much it. Moving over to DC, we have DC's celebration of Black History Month with DC Power. We have Black Paradise, written by Evan Narcia and Daryl Banks. This was our
compilation.
Yeah, it's a compilation. This is the Nubia thing. Do Your Own Name is Durando Quick and Jordan Clark as writers with Clayton Henry. Separate but Equal is Lamont McGee and Crisscross. Booyah is the opening of the new Cyborg with Morgan Hampton and Valentine D. Lorando. So I do want to ask you, because we're getting there on that. What did you think of the story with Cyborg? Considering this is the new comic team on him.
I mean, it was okay. It wasn't. I guess it was it was. How can I put this ever so nicely? It felt it wasn't a challenging story. It wasn't a bad story. It felt safe. That's about the best way I could put that. It was like a safe story. It was like, let's go with something that's not going to be controversial. Let's go with something that's not going to rock the boat or go far away from it. They really did pick something safe. So I guess that's why I was just like, you could have pushed the envelope a little bit. But I mean, it was okay. I mean, I wasn't expecting holy crap, they finally got somebody who could do it right kind of thing. But it was okay.
I mean, does this give you hope moving forward with this team?
I will wait for the next one. I will say, I will put it this way. I think they deserve another shot. Now, the story itself is okay. Do I think they can write it? Depends on what they do next.
Vixen.
Yep. Go ahead.
I was just going with the next one. But yeah, no, I agree. We'll still give it a shot because we're going to give every number one a shot at the very least. Now, whether we keep going with it, that's remain to be seen. But, we're not saying outright with this kickoff, hey, it's the best thing ever. But, we're going to give it a shake and let him do what he wants to do. Yeah. Next up, we got Vixen and Batwing, writer Chuck Brown. What's up?
We're going to Spider-Man. I said I was going to be honest, like you and Spider-Man. We'll give it a shot until it's time to check out.
Oh yeah, no, I canceled that book. I canceled that book last week. I canceled that and started picking up Action Comics so I can get more of it. Oh yeah. I'm also kicking myself because I did not realize the next issue was going to be a two-parter with Joe Kelly and the new and another artist. So I actually got to pick those issues up. I think it's J. Scott Campbell. So I actually got to go pick those issues up because I do want to read a Joe Kelly, Scott Campbell drawn book and story. Because it's just we're tangent on this. We'll go back to the thing, but the whole premise is Peter and Felicia go to take a trip to North New York for a nice holiday to themselves. Of course, Parker Luck, the cabin they go to, Paul and MJ are there.
That's awkward.
So that it is awkward. It's hilariously awkward. And then a fight breaks out between versions of the Sinister Six and White Rabbit, and it turns out Mysterio and White Rabbit hooked up and they're making a movie. But now it's become a murder mystery, and Peter and Black Cat are like, why?
You just wait for Deadpool. Why does it feel like it's
a
Deadpool
pretty much. I'm just waiting for Deadpool.
Nowhere. It's a Deadpool moment where he comes out of nowhere. It's like, yeah, you weren't expecting that, were you?
By the way, read X Force. my super best friend Omega Red's in it with me. So back to this one. Batwing and Vixen, Chuck Brown and Peterson Oliveira. Not bad. I enjoyed it. Didn't realize they were a couple. Now I do. The Queen, the Bee, and the Symphony. Great, another Nubia story with. Is he Guardian or which one is he this time?
Oh, which story? I'm sorry, which story again?
The Queen, the Bee, and the Symphony. Which one is God, they're like the only other married couple in DC. He was trumpeter.
Because you're talking about Nubia.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Mal and what's her name? Mal Duncan and his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's what you're thinking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. This one was not bad. I enjoyed it. The Cavalry, I believe this is the Calvinello story.
Mm-hmm.
It's either that or Keeping the Peace. It's Keeping the Peace is the Batman story. So Calvin Ellis by John Ridley and Oliver Copia. Keeping the Peace is a Batman story. And the only problem I have with this one is this is a preview of Far Sector, which is by far the best Green Lantern comic in a while. Outside of Green Lantern Legacy, which is a young adult Green Lantern novel about an Asian Green Lantern. But no, Far Sector is by far the best Green Lantern book ever. I'm a little disappointed that we only got a preview of the Far Sector book and not something new dealing with Joe by the same team. That was my only complaint about that.
Well, I think they were trying to keep it short since it's a compilation book. It's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I know. But if I'm paying $10, I want a new story.
Yeah, that's fair. It is fair. I'll give you that. I mean, we got talking about
huh?
No, I said we just got through talking about Zelda and payment about the Zelda game of $70. So I was like, yeah, that's fair.
Next up, we got season 2 of Static Shock, Shadows of Dakota. This is written by Nicholas Dapper Ivy and Vita Aliyah. Art by Nicholas Dapper Ivy. I really like the start of season 2. I will come straight out and say this. Ebon is terrifying in this book.
Yeah.
Like, if what you thought he could do as a kid when we were kids watching this was scary, this is dialed to 11. What? Go ahead.
Right. He went full on Freddy Krueger with this.
Oh, yeah. Also, Virgil, I don't think is going to keep this secret identity thing up very long because even people he helps on this tree is like, baby, it's you. It's obvious. I just laughed at that. He's
that
like,
part
how
was
did
funny.
you?
That part was funny. It's just,
thank you for the hot dog a little bit ago. How did you know? Baby, it's obvious.
it's like, how did you know? Come on now.
You ain't fooling no one.
Right.
Now, I
It's
think
like,
this,
you're not
the
really
art's
hiding anything,
fantastic,
but, you know,
story's
good try.
fantastic. Art's fantastic, story's fantastic. This kind of always goes to show that, and I don't know how I feel about saying this, but I do think this is the truth. That as much as we love Icon and Rocket, Static is the icon of Milestone. That's
yeah. I mean, yeah. You are
their Spider-Man.
right.
Moving on. Yeah, let's talk about Dark Web. We'll just get this out of the way first. Dark Web is written by Zeb Wells.
But at the same
art
time,
by Adam Kubert, Francisco Monterio, and Scott Hanna. Colors are by Frank Martin and Guru EFX. Will, go ahead.
Nah, nope. Go on. Go ahead. I'm gonna be quiet. I'll be quiet.
No, you go ahead first. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, go ahead first and I'll jump in.
Of course you're gonna make me do this. Fine, I'll do it. Of course you're gonna make me do this. How is it that Dark Web started out so great and we got to this? We got to the finale of Dark Web where again, if you've been following X-Men, where Jean Grey and Scott had made up with Madeline, who initially helped out Ben, which somewhere in the Venom in the previous issue before this one, I think it was Venom. It might have been Venom. I'm not really sure. Where Madeline loses her sight, which basically gives her power or dominion over Limbo. Somehow gets in the hands of Ben, who then decides between him and Hallows' Eve to go back and rule New York. And at this point, not only has Spider-Man made his way back with Wreck Rap, the X-Men have made it back with Madeline Pryor. Miss Marvel has somehow made it back. And during this entire battle, which again was easily thwarted because Madeline Pryor took on her whole army of demons by herself, it was almost to the point to where Spider-Man really wasn't needed. I mean, the fact that once he got the scythe away from Ben was pretty much on the same level as Peter. And at the same time, Madeline Pryor decides to say, you know what? He's too far gone for this world. Let me put him in limbo. What? Yeah, let me put him in limbo. He's not, look, he's damaged goods. I've been where he is. Let me put him in limbo. He'll serve out his time there. And of course, I'm like, wait a second. You're the one that was in cahoots with this guy. And so all's forgiven? You basically unleashed Limbo and its demons upon New York City, and apparently now all's forgiven. So now you have been sitting in Limbo. Spider-Man Peter still goes to visit him. Madeline is back on her throne in Limbo, and apparently everybody's cool. What the? I'm sorry. I hate the ending. I hate the ending. I hate it.
So here's the biggest issue I have with this. And I kind of like everything in the grand scheme of things because I've collected the whole run. The biggest issue with this is we resolved the majority of this series in Dark Web X-Men 3.
Yeah, true. We did. I can't argue
and
that.
All we needed to do for this issue was, man, it's like, Ben, we can fix you. I got fixed by Jean. We can just have Jean psychically give you Peter's memories. And when Jean goes to do it, I can't. There's something blocking me.
Yeah.
Also, Hallows' Eve, most toxic girlfriend and toxic relationship partner since the Joker. There's so many bizarre things about this, but there was like a whole producer's note in one of the other comics where it's like they wanted us to get rid of Ben Reilly because they don't see him as anything. They do not like using him. They gave us our time with him and beyond, and they want us to put him away. Mm-hmm. We had one more thing to do with him. So they made us pretty much fridge him. So we're not seeing Ben Reilly anytime soon. I'm like, you know what? That's fine. I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. At some point down the road, we'll probably get him back because I guarantee you this Spider-Man run is not going on very long. And maybe we'll get a writer that can fix Ben. It's not that hard to fix Ben in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just have Jean or someone psychics just fill in the memories, or him come to the epiphany of, I don't need Peter's memories. I'm my own man going forward.
Yeah.
Which, that's the thing now. They probably need something to fix him from continuously losing his own memories. Most definitely. But,
still,
the Madeline Pryor thing, yeah, there's just no way of putting this. We immediately lose Wreck Rap, which he's not coming back anytime soon. And if he is, it'll be too soon.
Right. Because
all he is just a stand-in for Spider-Side at this point.
Yeah.
Them forgiving Madeline Pryor in the grand scheme of things, they were all cool with Maddie. So now it's the beef between the city of New York and the Limbo Embassy in New York. which is a thing moving forward. There is a embassy to Limbo in New York. So,
which again,
there's that. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm just stuck with the fact that I'm sorry, my mind still goes back to No Consequence. I'm like, so everybody just gets a pass. I'm sorry.
Well, Maddie gets a pass. Maddie gets a pass in for the X-Men because they were always cool with Maddie in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Maddie just went about it the wrong way, and then Jean talked after Jean slapped the crap out of her, taste out of her mouth. They sat down and talked, and they worked things out. What Maddie was asking for was never like really that hard to give. She just didn't know how to ask. Like even she's back in a relationship with Havoc. It's just that she goes like, he says, man, it's like it's Madeline when we're working. So she wants a decorum of respect while they're on the job, and then what they do after she clocks out is what they do after she clocks out.
Yeah,
which also good for Havoc. Still in therapy, probably going to be taking Maddie to therapy's couple.
That's gonna be couples. That's gonna be couples therapy session at that point.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. It resolves some of the X-Men stuff. I like that Madeline just like flat out goes full Goblin Queen and all the things like, oh, she was the Goblin Queen. Yeah, we stand no chance. We're just gonna immediately lie down.
Yeah, that was
the Venom stuff is one of those like I don't care. I'm not reading Venom. Miss Marvel is kind of a gateway into the Red Goblin comic, which is the further adventures of Normie Osborn, which I don't care. I'm not going to read that. Spider-Man is where he's at. I don't care. I'm not reading that until after we get a new writer and artist. So, I mean, I'm left with X-Men, and X-Men's still consistently good. So,
Until you see Zeb Wells pop as a writer.
No, well, he did. He wrote Hellions, and that was fantastic.
Okay. Because I'm like, he's the same writer behind. He's the same writer behind Ben and Dark Web. So I was like, are you sure?
He can do tortured characters real well. It's his Spider-Man that I had the problem with. I never had a problem with his Ben.
Okay.
His Ben and Dark Web is right in line with his Hellions run.
Okay. But no,
Zeb Wells also did the new version of Thunderbolts, and that was fantastic.
I have to go back and catch back up on Thunderbolts.
Yeah, it's only 5 issues.
Yeah.
They're going to pick it back up when the movie comes back. They've already said so.
Yeah, but I still have until my free time is
so,
gone.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm very good.
There's definitely problems with this. I will not mince words. I will not try to make up for it. Honest, half of this thing wrapped up in a side issue where I feel like it should have waited and resolved in here. There are different ways that could have gone about it. Most definitely, Jean going, I can't fix Ben. There's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
And that's why Matt's like, all right, well, I'll hold him and we'll figure something out to help Ben. But right now, his penance is that he's in a tropical dimension because the demons don't understand what punishment is, or only understand a demon equivalent of punishment, which is to be put in a paradise dimension.
Yeah.
I think Hallows Eve's getting her own miniseries where she's taking on different the monsters that she has the mask of. So Frankenstein, Werewolf by Night, Dracula, and one of the goblins. So like that's something I'm not gonna read. Like I feel bad speaking very poorly about this because I love Ben Reilly, but like even I will attest this was not a great way to end what was a very fun like Army of Darkness style comedy book for the most part.
It just didn't end well. I'm sorry, it just didn't end well.
Flat at the end. It did not cross that finish line.
That's the wild part, but. At least you can sit there and say that you can drop Spider-Man for a little while.
Yeah. I mean, both Spider-Man books are not good. The Dan Slott one is like, you do know what's going on in the Dan Slott book, right?
Honestly, when you dropped it, I dropped it, so I really don't know.
So they got the erase you from the all existence dagger, and Peter got stabbed by it. So they went and found the one true original Spider-Man, which was a slight printing error in typing, where they accidentally typed Peter Palmer in one issue.
Wow.
So it's Spider-Man with no hyphen, Peter Palmer, the original Spider-Man. That's their big hope.
Wow.
That's how they're ending the Spider-Verse. Dan Slott Spider-Verse saga. It's like, they even asked, he's like, do you want to keep reading the Dan Slott thing? It's like, God, no. Also, subscribe to Action Comics, though, because I get to more King Kong, I get more Supergirl, and I get Power Girl as backup stories.
Yeah.
So the moral of this issue is, guys, go read Action Comics 1051.
Just, you explain that. That's the plot for the Spider. Wow. Ooh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys, I mean, we hate being a downer on this one, but, my optimism for Ben Reilly can only carry me so far. The next time they want to do something with the Scarlet Spider, I hope to God it's Kane and they can do something good with him because, I would love Kane because man is part spider monster and has the tendency to turn into a giant man tarantula.
Yeah.
Why wasn't he part of this?
Because it made sense. I'm almost certain it makes sense.
So, yeah, those are the comics. More comics? We did not have more comics. I just like that they immediately write out J. Jonah Jameson in this. And I also got to ask, what was the point of stealing Robbie? He did nothing in this book.
He's an NPC that had to be saved. Robbie just has to be an NPC that just had to be saved. That's just, there's no other way I can say about that. But I guess. But thank you, Joe,
for the same problems you do right now. He's got to help his son prepare for a wedding.
Yeah.
To a mob boss's daughter.
Tombstone of all people. But anyway, but thank you, Joe, for the comic book pulls today, sir. As we're kind of wrapping this up, anything you let people know what you're up to this weekend or next weekend or things of that nature?
I mean, next week we will definitely be talking about Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. We're probably both going to watch it right after this ends.
Yeah.
As for what I got going on, still working on One Piece, just taking a short break. The new stuff for Ghostbusters, Spirits Unleashed dropped. We get a new empty, dilapidated hospital episode, new ghosts, the ability to craft the real Ghostbusters proton pack and equipment, and on top of being able to actually physically make the real Ghostbusters in game. I am absolutely terrified of the hospital level because it reminds me I have to go to work the next day. Say, Joe, where are you? I'm over in the break room. Found my locker in game. Had to go and find locker 39 in one of the rooms and found it. It's like, hey, here's my locker. Muncher is kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. He's not as good as Slimer, but he's still pretty good.
Okay.
They actually did give him his machine gun spit attack as his ultimate, so that really, really hurts. Other than that, I'm just working on some Battle Spirit stuff. This weekend I'll be putting out a tier list.
Okay.
As the launch event in Vegas for $150 million is slowly launching. I will not be at Vegas. I cannot travel. I'll just keep making content.
Hey, you never know. You never know. But
you can find me everywhere. I'm doing a lot of charity work and a lot of the groups. I think I'll be doing Ant-Man maybe next Friday. I'll let you know.
As we'll say, Quantum Mania does come out next week.
I will actually be seeing it Thursday with friends, so we can actually do like review on Friday if I'm not with Anthony and the cosplay crew.
You lucky. I want to go see it so bad, but I probably won't be able to go see it till Saturday. I was
you get to go see
hoping
Jonathan Majors become the new big bad of the Marvel Universe, and then
lot of
everybody go, "Who's Kang?"
a lot of positive reviews though so far. What I've heard about him and his performance, so that is
Can't wait for him to show up in Fantastic Four as Ramatut, and then going, "Why is he black? He's Egyptian." And then all of us equally cringe because everybody keeps forgetting Egypt is part of Africa.
This is where you just hand the world map and say, just point. Point solves all problems.
Although to be fair, on their side, some parts of Africa do have a different ethnicity.
They do, but for the majority,
it's like saying we're forgetting that Russians are also technically Asian because Russia is part of the Asian continent. So they're both wrong for complaining about it, but they're also technically correct at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. But all right, but yes, you can find Joe at his YouTube channel at Total Justice Gaming, of course, his Twitch at Joe Italian last name. So definitely check him out, like and share, and let people know about him, especially the Battle Spirits that he definitely does on his Total Justice Gaming page. Also, let me give a shout out to the other person who always supports us from where he is. My buddy Vaughn at Big BZA Dot. You can definitely find him at Big BZA Dot on all socials. Definitely check him out on TikTok, as well as Facebook, as well as his YouTube page. Like, share, and subscribe from there. Of course, guys, is yours truly. You can find me, BlackBox447, on all socials. I usually post everything I do reviews on, that I play, that I watch, that I read, even gym stuff, because until I do a couple push-ups. At the same time, guys, I do also the link at the bottom. Let me make that just a wee bit bigger for you guys to see. If you copy and paste that link into your browser, it will take you to our link tree that has the YouTube and Facebook groups for all of our podcasts. How the Friend Got Here, Get Bit, and of course, Y'all Friends Podcast. Definitely like, share, and subscribe. Definitely from there. But yes, as you're going to be out and about, and I know a lot of you will be because we still got 6 more weeks to winter, according to a groundhog. So hopefully you guys are being safe. However, if you are going to be out and about, or if you are going to be traveling, or if you're going to be in huge waves of traffic, please, oh, please protect yourself. Wear a mask if need be. If you are sick, please stay home. Like I said, we are still dealing with a pandemic. We are still dealing with Corona and its multivariants and HSV and RSV, respiratory issues.
And neurovirus now. Now we got neurovirus.
And neuroviruses. We are one letter away from Resident Evil at this point. But anyway, definitely protect yourselves and protect others, and that's how we're gonna get through this. Aside from that, guys, we will definitely be back here next Friday, same Get Bit time, same Get Bit channel. And as I wrap this up, I want to say this to each and every one of you guys. There is no competition in what you want to do. You may see others go ahead of you. You may see others get there overnight. Some take years, but understand there is no competition. You can do the best that you can do and understand that we are rooting for you. You know, whether it's chasing your dreams, whether it's that cosplay, whether it's that job, no matter what the goal is, you have no competition. And therefore, we are all pulling for you to succeed, because at the end of the day, we just want to see everybody win. That's pretty much it. But with that being said, Joe, any last words before we call it a night, sir?
Yes, my message to everybody is knock it off. You know what you did.
I have so many questions. But I'm going to leave that one alone. He's been Joe. I've been Will. This has been the Get Bit Podcast for Night, guys. Thank you all for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other. We will all get through this. Peace.
So if you're Black Spartan, does that mean I'm yellow?